My coworkers are trying to turn me into human compost. I was working late at the office when I saw John from HR walk out of my cubicle and whisper to Sarah from marketing. I have no idea what they were talking about, but somehow it felt like a threat. My heart was racing as I stared at the rows of cubicles in front of me. They seemed to be shrinking, and the fluorescent lights above were humming like a swarm of angry bees. The air was thick with desperation and the smell of stale coffee. John poked his head back into my cubicle and asked if I wanted to grab some lunch. I politely declined, and he nodded and walked back to his office. I tried to focus on the project in front of me, but my eyes kept drifting to the door as if waiting for something to happen. Sarah walked by my cubicle and whispered something to John, and I felt a cold sweat trickle down my spine. The sound of her voice was like a rusty gate creaking in the wind. It seemed to vibrate deep in my chest. I took a deep breath and tried to calm down. I am not crazy. I am not crazy. I saw the look on Sarah's face, and it was a mixture of sadness and hunger. As the day went on, I started to notice strange things. My coworkers seemed to be gathering in the conference room. They were whispering among themselves and glancing at me with a mixture of fear and curiosity. I felt like a specimen under a microscope. The sound of the copy humming in the background started to take on a menacing tone. Sam walked into the conference room and cleared his throat before announcing the company's new initiative, a bold plan to reduce waste and carbon footprint. He looked directly at me and winked as if sharing a secret. I felt a chill run down my spine. The sound of his voice was like a slow-moving train wreck. It seemed to be inevitable. The days that followed were a blur of meetings and training sessions. I was subjected to lectures on sustainable living and the importance of reducing our carbon footprint. My coworkers seemed to be competing with each other to see who could come up with the most creative ways to reduce waste. I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare. John started leaving me messages in my inbox reminding me to reduce my paper usage and recycle more. I felt like I was being watched and followed. I started to wonder if they were trying to turn me into some kind of human compost. I am not crazy. I am not crazy. I saw the look in John's eyes, and it was a mixture of hunger and desperation. I started to notice strange changes in my body. My skin was becoming translucent and my hair was falling out in clumps. I felt like I was slowly being consumed by some kind of dark force. My coworkers seemed to be gathering in the break room, whispering among themselves and glancing at me with a mixture of fear and curiosity. The sound of their whispers was like a swarm of bees in my ear. It seemed to be getting louder and louder until I could barely hear my own thoughts. I am not crazy. I am not crazy. I saw the look on John's face, and it was a mixture of hunger and sadness. Now I am sitting in my office cubicle staring at the rows of fluorescent lights above me. They seem to be shrinking, and the air is thick with desperation. I feel like I am trapped in some kind of never-ending nightmare. I am not crazy. I am not crazy, but what if they are trying to turn me into something else?